Hello guys. Recently I published a tool for Gwent that allows for easier analytics for you. Actual analytics, like you can have data pulled directly from CDPR and not just like have your private spreadsheet or just vote reviews, right? But currently it's probably the best you can do. But I'm gonna show you how you can access your private data about your performance in, let's say, a feasible way, let's call it. Let's maybe start with some theory on how Gwent works as a game. I have some drawings prepared for you. This is the general networking architecture for the game. Basically, what Gwent does in terms of networking is it connects to GOG APIs. There's a bunch of services that just use HTTP. Basically, for menu, it's HTTP only. For in-game servers, like actual event processing servers, it's WebSockets, but we're not really interested in that. It's mostly for the bot farmers, right? We don't care. What we care about is the HTTP services that are used when you're in menu and when you're logging in. There's a bunch of them, and they're like, it's a microservice architecture. Like each service is responsible for one thing. For instance, you have like text service that controls like the balance council patches and your deck submissions, right? Your edits, etc. Have inventory, you have rewards when you, for instance, like get keys from daily quests, etc. There's a lot of more. There's like 15 of them, like less than 20, I think. And one particular service that is not used by the game but is available to the game client is game history service. And I discovered that about 1.5 years ago and made a analytics tool to display your games. Like you can have your game history displayed for you. That's a feature that Gwent doesn't have. And the problem with that was, to access your data, you need to authenticate to those services, to those GOG web services. And what I used to do is have a local proxy to intercept packets and to like scrape the your authentication token for those services out of them. That was like, this was a local proxy, so it's somewhere in here, like a man in the middle, right? I think that that process is pretty complicated and it's not really user friendly for most of you. So I decided to make a tool that, instead of inspecting network packets, just takes the authentication token straight from the game application. And the process for the user is, I think, much easier. I'm gonna demonstrate how it works, and I'm gonna guide you through the setup from scratch right now. Basically, it's a hook for the game. Not just all it does is just displays your authentication token and lets you access all of those services on your own. Let's maybe show how, in theory, how it works. So this is my solution for dumping the token from the game. Basically, there are two pieces of software. There's like the hook for the game. All it does is just like opens the console and shows you that your token that is used by the game in that moment. It shows you the updated tokens once they expire, because they expire like every hour. But the console will pick that up and automatically just display you the next one. I will show you that in a second. And then I wrote the program to actually get the code into Gwent process. As like this operates as DLL injection. Let's call it attack. It's not really an attack, but whatever. All it does is like it loads a library into the Gwent process, and just this library then interacts with CDPR's net library and just like shows you the your own token. And that's about it. We will not dive into technicalities of that, because like it's not that's not what I want to do right now. Let's maybe showcase this. So I have this repository is public on GitHub, and what you're supposed to do when you want to use this is you go to releases and you download this thing right here. I always just use the latest release, right? Currently this is the latest. Alright, let's maybe copy this out. Let's make a folder for this. Alright, let's unpack this here. Um, that's alright. And inside you have those two pieces of software that I mentioned. And we can use this already. I have my Gwent client open already. If you don't, you should start with opening your Gwent client. You can run this when your Gwent is loading, but you can also run this after it's loaded into menu. And how you run this is you just press injector.exe, and what it should do is it should prompt you with this fire dialog to just select the other library that you want to load into the game. We're going to select the one that we downloaded because this is not the one. This is showcase. Select this, and then you can see this Gwent icon on this console. This console is already running inside it's from inside the Gwent client. So you can see a bunch of like metadata. The actual token is not there yet because we haven't really used the game client in the sense that it hasn't made any network request yet. So in order to do that, you need to click on something, right? Like something that actually triggers any network request. The easiest way to do that is just click your profile. And by now, you should have this funny chain of characters. You just need to copy this out, and basically that's your access to the game's API already. We can test it. I have a bunch of tests in Postman prepared already. This is the request for like the current patch, like balance pack council patch. It just gives you all the card definitions with power and provisions. Right. One important thing, this is confidential. By the time I post this video, this token will be invalid because they only last like about an hour. It refreshed like a little bit earlier, it's like 55 minutes I think, what I've seen. But yeah, it's just, the lifetime of this is pretty short. So yeah, we have the data, right? It's pretty long. It's like 160,000 lines long. It's just basically it's all the cards in the game with premium cards, and then you can like have different endpoints that the game uses, right? Like you can see this collection on the left side. I have a bunch. It's not all of them. The game uses much more, but like I'm not interested in all of that. And you can basically build applications on top of that, like your own. Please note that like it's this API access is not strictly public. CDPR just didn't publish any guidelines of how to do this. It's kind of unofficial, let's say. I'm not affiliated with CDPR, but I also don't want any harm for like the game or the company itself. This is not cheats, like also I should probably mention, because programs like these are kind of against an user agreement. I genuinely think that the rules are here because of cheaters, right? And it's just to prevent cheating in the game. This software doesn't really give you any advantages when you're playing. It's solely for your like reviews and analytics outside of the game. Like you don't need to play actually to just use this. And live games, it doesn't work. When you're playing a game, you can't really request your game, like your opponent's deck, for instance, right? So that doesn't work. I don't think it's cheating. I think it's just a good addition that CDPR for some reasons decided not to make. Alright, coming back from the rant, we can now use my other app that I did that uses all of the necessary requests that I researched before and lets you essentially view your games that you played. And we're going to set this app up and going to do it the same way. So the first thing we do, this is only for Windows. It works for 64-bit Windows, but this app in particular, this works for 32-bit Windows as well. But this one is 64-bit only. It works on Steam. It works on GOG. Right now, I think I'm using GOG. Yeah, I am. I'm using the GOG build, but they're essentially the same. The game version, etc. It is just the same between Steam and GOG. It Steam also uses GOG accounts under the hood, so it's basically the same. So yeah, we download the latest build. In my case, it's 64-bit. So let's just download that. Alright, let's just put it in the same place. Let's unpack. Alright, and you should have everything needed for this to work. One thing you need to configure is this config.json file. Let's open it in the text editor, right? What you need to do is you need to fill in your user ID. That's kind of important because otherwise like the app just won't let you log in. So we need to fill this, and how you fill this is we need to find our user ID. For that you can use the guide I made. All the links will be in the description, so check out that. Generally this guide is obsolete because it described, you know, the way that I mentioned, the way to obtain your token using the middleman network proxy, but right now you don't use most of that. What you want from here is how to get your user ID. Here's a little guide that I put up, and yeah, I think we can just use that. Let's just copy this. Go to the, this is for Steam, I think. So I got a little bit confused about the GOG user ID acquisition, let's say, because this option only works on Steam, but I forgot that I actually made the guide for GOG as well. So if you're playing on GOG like I am right now, you want to use the GOG site and just find your user ID there. So let's do that. I already logged in into my GOG account that I'm testing this on. And what we want to do is you want to go to the DevTools, which is usually F12 button, right? And then you want to search the HTML for the value, the user ID, right? Maybe with the colon. Let's search for this. It's just no. Let's hit enter. And this number here is your user ID. You want to copy that out, you can double click, right? I'm on Firefox, but like should be the same in most browsers. We copy the number without the quotes, and that's our user ID. Let's copy that in back to our config.json. Here it is, and we're going to the config.json file. Paste that in, save, and we are ready to run our application, the Gwent GG one. So let's run it. This is self-contained application. It doesn't need any dependencies other than the ones that you have in the archive, right? Let's just run this. Let's allow this in our system, right? Alright, this application is running already. Like you will see eventual like application logs if there are errors or something in this console. Right now we can go to the localhost 300, 3000, right? This is where our application is right now, and it will redirect you to the login screen, right? You have the user ID you pasted in as user ID already, and you need the token. So let's check if we have any new tokens. Yes, I do. So like our token from the previous one refreshed. So now I'm supposed to copy the latest one, which is at the bottom, right? They only saw the new line. You can see the new line is here, right? We can make sure. Let's copy that in and click login. Hope it works. Oh, it doesn't. Alright, we got our token. Let's paste it in. This is the one. Hopefully it lets us in. And there you go. This is your profile shown in GwentGG. And you can basically access all of your data that I deemed useful at the moment right here. So quick look around, like this is your ranked stats, right? Your rank and your like win rate in ranked and the season name. This is the current season name, so like it only counts the current season. And also all of your games, not only ranked. Let's like latest 100, I think, or close to 100. And this is your like all of your games aggregated by fraction that you're playing. And here you have like your game's preview that you played. This is, I think this is the last 100. And you can click this. You can click this. That's the main feature. And it's gonna show you the game that you played, and it's gonna show you your opponent's deck, your own deck, right? The scores, like who had blue coin, for instance, right? And it's going to show you the order in which both of you played your cards in the game, and it's also going to show you additional actions like order clicks, like spawns right here, that both players have taken in order, right? In this game, like not much happened, I'd say. Also, sometimes this data of actions is incomplete, and it does not really like depend on me. It depends on how CPR stores this data. But sometimes you have like full info, and sometimes you have no data on that. But you always have the decks, like, and your stats and your sequences. That's always there. And yeah, you can review that. You can analyze that. The other thing is this data, all of those games that you download with this tool are saved locally in a SQLite database file. And we can inspect that if we go here. So here is your GwentDB that the application uses, and you can view that with things like SQLite DB browser or like any CLI that just is meant to be used for SQLite. It's a standard format, right? And we can access our data. Like for instance, if we want to see the list of games that we played, well, here it is, right? If we want to see like our actions, there are. And you can use this raw data, like have any analytics app that you want. It's free for you to use. It's your data, honestly, so like you can do whatever you want with this for me, right? And yeah, I think that's it. I would say that's like the most advanced tool available for analytics right now, outside of you just having like your own spreadsheets, right, and VOD reviews. And I think that it can help you grow and like become a better player. I hope so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All of the necessary links will be in the video description. And see you.